Good afternoon, my friends. This is the Grim Flayer. Hope you're doing very well today. I am here to very briefly introduce the first quarterfinal match of the Battle for the Bob series and to tell you what is new as far as our coverage goes. Now, if you want a full breakdown of the Battle for the Bob, if you missed that, please check out the linked video in the description below where Mr. Steven Mirabito and I do a full metagame breakdown and a full explanation of what the tournament is. But assuming you already know what's going on, you're here for the first quarterfinal match, and I'm just going to briefly tell you what is going on relative to our last tournament. So this time, we should have a higher visual quality due to the change in the manner in which we recorded these leagues, and along those lines, there is also a new layout. Big shout out to the guys who worked on that, of course, and the layout is going to provide you with hand information at all times from both players, which is really nifty for you, the viewer. I believe in this first match, for one of the games, the hands get flipped, they're on the wrong sides of the table, basically, but it's easy enough to follow. It's not a mirror match, thankfully, so that shouldn't be much of an issue, and I don't think that issue cropped up again throughout the entire tournament, so that's good. We have also included some interviews with some of our victors. I believe every single quarterfinal match winner has a brief 1 to 2 minute interview at the end of the match, so that's a cool new feature. As far as our commentators go, we kind of had alternating pairs that stayed consistent throughout. In this first match, as well as through about half of the other matches overall, you are going to hear Mr. Steven Mirabito, the tournament's organizer and my pregame host, along with fan favorite, the Fjord. So a wonderful pairing. And the other pairing that you'll hear in the remainder of the videos consists of myself, yours truly, the Grim Flayer, as well as my good friend and a merfolk expert, the Dogfish. So that is what we're dealing with here, and as you can see, there's some great insight and some great prep that went into this, as you see with this candid shot of our pregame talks.
The game with Lingering Souls.
Oh, is that right? We have Modern All-Star Lingering Souls. Do you think it's a 5 ticks Modern All-Star, Fjord?
I think it's a full budget Modern All Star, so it must be the best card in 5-tick Modern.
Probably so. Probably so.
So yeah, pearls of wisdom dropped even during sound checks about Lingering Souls. The 200 IQ takes, you love to hear it. That's what we're dealing with here, so thank you so much to everybody who made this possible. And speaking of checking the sound levels, which is, again, kind of what you just heard, we are... that's probably the one thing that we could work on even more for next time. We'll always try to be doing better with this stuff. I have done my best with editing to keep the sound levels to a roughly even keel throughout all speakers, but it was a little bit difficult. Again, we're sourcing this from multiple different people with any given video, so we are doing our best and always onward and upward, but I think the production value of the tournament overall is much improved from the first one. I really hope you guys enjoy it, and without any further ado, I pass you over to Mirabito and the Fjord for our first quarterfinal. Big shout out to everybody involved with this, good luck to our competitors, and let's see who takes home that Bob.
Good morning, my friends. We come to you in media ray, as the professionals call it, in the middle of our game here. We are watching the quarterfinals of Nastia on Izzet Delver versus Ironworks playing Blue-White Soulherder. I have my very good friend and close confidant, Mr. Fjord. Fjord, how are we doing today?
We're doing great. Very professionals, my friend.
Exactly. Nothing but the most professional here, and we have a very, very interesting matchup. We are coming in here, again, like I said, with Izzet Delver versus Blue-White Soulherder. We have an interesting hand here from Mr. Ironworks. He just has white sources in his planes, but he does have a Wall of Omens and an Ephemerate in hand, and hopefully that extra card draw will help him get out of this.
And yeah, and so for any... I was just going to say, for anyone who missed it, while we were starting up there, Nastier's first 2 turns were Delver into Young Pyromancer, and that was Path. So that's what we've kind of missed so far, is that and then a Wall of Omens. And Nastia goes with the Sprite Dragon, so he's going on the offensive here.
He is, yes. And the game is starting to play out a little bit how we expected here, Fjord. We're going to see a lot of early aggression here from Mr. Nastier. And we see that he attacked with the Delver. And it's a 1-1 on the ground. Maybe looks a little suspicious on Ironworks' side. Ironworks goes and calls that. Says, you know what, I don't think that you have it. The bolt, that is, and really got to be able to kind of blow him out there by when he went to ephemerate the Wall of Omens on end step, Nastier got to bolt it in response.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't have blocked there. That was a questionable attack from Nastier's part, and I think the one life is I think being able to guarantee 2 extra draws off of the ephemerate Wall of Omens combo was or even better, the rebound ephemerate with the chroma, like that was definitely worth just taking 1 life there.
Absolutely. Kind of strange to think that it was incorrect to block with your walls. Is that right, Fjord?
Yeah, I mean, that's what normally walls do, right?
That's exactly right. For everyone who doesn't know, Fjord actually registered this event with a wall tribal deck, a deck I had the absolute pleasure of watching in the Swiss rounds. It was a lot of fun.
It's a fun deck, but I got blasted by a lot of the competition.
Well, we've had a really fascinating tournament. Fjord, was there any decks in particular that you really loved, or ones that you played against that you thought were really fantastic?
In all honesty, shout out to our former winner, Mr. Geek Outlaw. Like, I think his deck is super sweet.
Awesome.
Just straight up Izzet prowess.
Gotcha.
But so damn, that Sprite Dragon's already a 4/4.
It already is,
and then he's a flip Delver. Like, this is a lot of pressure.
It is a ton of pressure.
Unless Ironworks can find a what's it called, Soulherder or another ephemerate basically off the top, and Nastier has no way to remove it or the morph creature to flip a chroma, I don't really see how Ironworks is coming back from this point.
Agreed. But hey, all that we need here from Ironworks is that blink effect, and he's got the 4 Soul Herders, he's got the Cloud Shifts, and he's got the Ephemerates. And so anything here, and he flips that Achroma, and then we're really in a lot of trouble here. Unfortunately, we just peel that Sagu Mauler, and Ironworks kind of sees the writing on the wall. He decides to scoop it up.
One more thing, too, to note is that Monoleak actually stops a Soul Herder from being able to work, too. So it needed to be a Cloud Post or a Cloud Shift or Ephemerate.
Gotcha, understood.
Because the leak could counter the 3 mana plays.
Correct, because he had flipped it here off of his light up the stage the previous turn. He was showing the Monoleak to Ironworks. Gotcha.
Ironworks cutting the Watchers, probably smart. Bringing in Aether Gust, which is a good one, and Kitchen Finks, which...
Excellent.
I don't know how good Kitchen Finks is going to be here. Nastier has a whole lot of flying threats. He does not... He only has, Young Pyro and Bedlam for, ground threats.
That's
better
true.
Than... It's better than probably Watcher for tomorrow, but I don't know if it's, I don't know if it's going to be great in this matchup.
Understood. Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. I think... Kitchen Finks, while probably not the ideal threat that we bring in here, is just maybe for lack of better choices. We're looking at trimming on some of those flip creatures, the morph creatures, rather. I think this is an interesting call by Ironworks, but I do think it's correct because it's a real liability to invest 3 mana into a 2/2. A 2/2 being a critical power toughness here that Nastier can really exploit. He's got burst lightning.
All of his removal deals
exactly.
with the 2/2 cleanly.
Yeah, exactly right. So, all of those is exactly like you said. Looks like here for Nastier, he is kind of trying to consider his options here. Not a surprise here that he's not 100% sure of what to cut. He ends up going with some really light sideboarding there. I think he may have trimmed a Mana Leak there, and he may have trimmed a Storm Chaser Mage, but I'm not 100% sure it went pretty fast for him. But again, I think he only had 2 in, 2 out there for his cuts. So
I think Echoing Truth looks really good. I don't really see much else in his sideboard that I'd want. Just because you can bounce the flip creatures and make him invest the 3 mana again to play them out as 2/2s. gives you more of a chance to deal with them.
Exactly.
The other thing I was going to say, too, that I found interesting about Ironworks, real quick, is cutting one of a Chroma and leaving all 4 of the Sagu Maulers. I probably would have done the opposite, just because Chroma's flying, so it can block those... just so it can block those flying creatures, because Ironworks doesn't really have anything else that flies.
Right.
Other than I think 2 Resto Angels.
Important to note here, we do have a mold of 5 for Nastia here. He has mold down to a bit of a sketcher as well. He only has the 1 basic island, and he just has the Delver of Secrets here. And so he's really relying here. He has a sleight of hand and really hoping to find that red source. But if he does, I think he'll be in really good shape.
Yeah, Ironworks has a decent hand, but it's a lightning bolt. So he flips Delver, and
hits with the path.
He's just gonna pass it right off the bat, just not even wait around for it.
Understood. Yep, that makes sense. And it shuffles the deck. Doesn't draw that bolt. Draws into another Seasoned Pyromancer. But we do go ahead and sleight of hand into another lightning bolt.
You mean Young Pyro?
Young Pyro, not Seasoned Pyro. This is not real modern. Of course, we are playing 5 ticks modern, ladies and gentlemen.
I believe 1 Seasoned Pyromancer is about 4 times the budget.
That's correct. Absolutely.
So that's a Sagu Mauler right now down. I think he's gonna go for a Soulherder next turn to try and flip it.
Hey, and this is how it happens. This is how it happens.
Yeah.
We have minimal pressure here from Nastia. Nastia makes the decision here just to go ahead and bolt on main phase to go ahead and get rid of that. Nastia had the option to hold up Mana Leak and just could have passed the turn and see what have happened. I think I would have rather seen that.
I actually like the bolt more because the 5 of Ironworks flip bounce blink effects are 1 mana, so Mana Leak wouldn't have been able to stop it from being able to be flipped.
Very well
whereas
said.
the
Very
bolt
well said,
definitely
Fjord.
stops it.
Absolutely, yeah. So that was probably that's why he's there and I'm not. I'm just here in the the commentator's booth. I'm not on the battlefield right now. So.
That's why we did not make it to the top 8.
That's correct. Well, I was the tournament organizer. I could not play, but I certainly would not have made it into the top 8 even if I was able to compete. So.
So. Bright Dragon, I think Nastia is Nastia holding up another bolt right now?
He has a Lava Dart in hand.
Okay. So that Soulherder would just get dropped then.
It would, yeah, it would. And you really see Ironworks kind of playing cautiously here. He's not wanting to commit to the board. I think this makes sense. I think he's wanting to try to maybe go 1 for 1 a little more here. He's got the Path to Exiles in hand. Try to maybe just get resources down a little bit before he feels safe. And also potentially wants to get in a position where he can go, Nastia is tapped out, and he goes land, morph creature, Soulherder in the same turn, and then can guarantee the value there.
I also like Nastia, Ironworks' decision there, not the path earlier, just in case.
Yes.
Nastia had some form of counter magic that would eat up his mana. Absolutely
agreed. Waiting there and taking that 1 damage was worth it to see with the Path to Exiles. Now, the Path to Exile, we're seeing the downside. Nastia is almost unmulliganed with the amount of lands that he has on the battlefield.
Yeah.
And he's reassembling a force here. He's put a Bedlam Reveler into hand. We're a little ways off of casting that, but we do have another Young Pyromancer. I keep saying Seasoned Pyromancer, but Young Pyromancer, Lava Dart, and a Mana Leak in hand. So we still have quite a bit of gas. And it looks like Ironworks is still staying patient here with the Soulherder, waiting for that point in the game where he can get guaranteed value.
Yeah, Ironworks really needs a threat to be able to start blinking here.
Absolutely.
Then a Young Pyro, that I feel like that is probably all right. Well, Aether Gust kind of helps, but I feel like that's probably the worst thing Ironworks could have seen.
Yep.
Because he doesn't have another answer for it basically, and I don't think it's very likely he's going to hit one now because I think his 4 paths are pretty much it.
Yeah.
Sorry, 3 paths. He only has 3. No, he does have 4.
He has 4.
Yeah, he has 4 paths, and then he does have 2 purges as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he's got what, 3 more answers then in his deck? But yeah, that Young Pyromancer definitely can run away with the game now.
Yeah, and you just see Nastia go ahead and unloading his hand here because he knows he has the Bedlam Reveler in hand, and he sees that Ironworks is not committing anything to the board, and really unfortunate here for Ironworks. even if he had found something like a reflector mage potentially, and was caught Nastier shields down here, it's looking a little tough. We see an Ether Gust
Yeah.
on the upkeep here. Go ahead, and we're just going to put that on the bottom. Makes sense because we're here for the big show, Mr. Reveler. He's going to come down. He's going to draw 3 cards.
Man, that
And that might be it, as all we see. But potentially, we're gonna see Ironworks have something to say about it. We'll see what he can put together.
Ironworks is going to need to find an answer to that Reveler
Yep.
definitely ASAP.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
he needs to pull a purge here in the next turn or two.
Well, there's a small
And-
opportunity here because if Nastier decides to tap out for this Reveler, he could potentially be shields down, and then with shields down, we could see maybe a Reflector Mage come down with the Soulherder, and then we can get something going here. So we'll see what happens.
It looks like Ironworks was debating negating Burst Lightning.
Yeah, it's
At this point, in all honesty, what else is he going to be countering with it, right?
yeah. I mean, his life
He doesn't
total's getting
have-
low.
Yeah. So here comes big man Bedlam.
Yeah, big BR. If as we said with the friends. No, just kidding. No one ever said that. But it is a great Magic card.
As the crew says.
As the crew says, the infamous crew. All right, we
So
see.
we draw Port Town. That's not what
that
not
is-
what Ironworks needed at
No,
all.
it is indeed not. And we're just in the awkward position where, like, we just got to land a Soulherder, or maybe we don't. Feeling pretty bad.
At this point, I think what your best bet is land the Soulherder. Hopefully, Nastier doesn't have more removal.
Right.
Block the use him to block the Bedlam, and then ephemerate it to blink it so it doesn't
Correct.
die. And then hopefully pull something on your next turn. You can blink with it to get like an Achroma down or something.
Definitely.
I think that's
agreed
his
with that.
best line.
Yep, and I think Ironworks agrees with you here. Gonna go ahead and take that line. But let's see what we have to say about it. Oh my goodness, a sick top deck from Nastier. He draws the Lava Dart.
Oh,
He's
yeah,
gonna go ahead, that Storm
that's pretty
Chaser Mage.
disastrous.
He's gonna go ahead and play that Young Pyromancer. Most likely
So
pre-combat.
now, yeah,
he's
so
gonna
now
just go
it's,
for it. Ooh.
So if Ironworks negates this and chumps Bedlam, he's still going to be taking 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 damage.
And we have the GGs
So,
from
yeah.
Ironworks in chat.
Yep.
This is this is
That
about
was- that
went
was
as we
brutal.
expected, right, Fjord? I mean, this was
Yeah,
an uphill
in
battle
all
for
honesty.
Ironworks the whole time. He had needed
So
something
that
pretty
was-
special to get out of that.
That was pretty brutal though.
Absolutely.
That was very.
A quick round 1 in our quarterfinals. Nastier, our undefeated champion, or not champion yet, undefeated competitor in the Swiss rounds, continues undefeated into the quarterfinals. We will see y'all for the next quarterfinals match.
Should be good.
Congratulations, Nastier, making it to the semifinals. Nastier, tell me, how did you feel going into that match for our quarterfinals against Ironworks?
So I was a bit worried that he could at some point just flip a morph creature and run away with the game. And so this, I was worried about it in game 2 when he passed 2 of my creature, and at some point he had a big window to top deck this, and I wasn't sure if I could win from this point, but luckily for me it didn't happen.
Wonderful, wonderful. And Nastier, anything you'd like to say about your deck list in general? Maybe what cards you wish you had, or potentially, what inspired you to play this archetype?
I guess it's pretty much all I already said to you in the deck list presentation. Like I like the card Delver of Secret, so I just try to make it work by looking at Delver Pauper and Modern Izzet Prowess. So if I could have like more cards, I guess Dreadhorde Arcanist is a very good card, but it's also 15 ticks, so it's not even close to being in the range of what I could put in the deck. But I also think like Remand could be a nice card to have in the deck.
That makes a lot of sense. And Nastier, you're going to be seeing who your semi-finalist competitor is going to be, and that's between Lucas on green-white value and Mr. Chris or Communet on living end. Is there someone you're rooting for to win that one you'd rather see?
So funnily enough, I played against both of them in the Swiss, And I think I have a better matchup against green-white, but I also feel like Caminette is going to take it.
Okay, wonderful. Well, congratulations again, Nastier, and I look forward to seeing you in the semifinals.
Thanks a lot.